welcome to Fort Riley, the podcast. This episode, we're going to go a little bit in depth on hunter safety.
Mike Hauk, senior wildlife biologist.
And so I understand that we've got a lot of great game on Fort Riley. Talk to me about the ability to hunt and how you take advantage of that ability here on the installation.
Yeah, we do. As far as game on the installation, we kind of have a reputation for having some quality white-tailed deer hunting, and we're lucky enough to have a elk herd on the installation that was released back in the late 80s, and the permits are issued through the state of Kansas. We have plenty of upland game birds to hunt, a really good quail population, and even some prairie chickens on the installation that a lot of people don't get to hunt in the state. As far as access to Fort Riley being a public recreation area, it's fairly simple. We have an iSportsman website that the hunters can get on and register on. We have all the information on there for them as far as the registration, then regulations, and we put out notices and everything on there. The hunters, when they're coming on the installation, if they're coming on to do firearms hunting, of course they have to have those firearms registered, and that is done down at the Visitor Control Center down off I-70 and Henry Drive near the airfield. They would have to have their firearms registered down there. As far as the iSportsman, probably the most important thing for hunters coming on the installation is just getting to know the installation itself, getting familiarized with all the training areas up north, because there's no street signs up there for them, so if they get lost, they don't want to end up in an off-limits area. So part of the iSportsman, when they're checking in and out, they are required to read the open areas, and that the open areas is actually is showing them which areas are closed for the day. Some areas might be open for some recreation, like hiking, fishing, and stuff like that, non-consumptive use, where some of them could be open for rifle. We don't allow rifle hunters in areas where there's troops training. Some of the other recreation forums, the non-consumptive forums, there could be troops in the area. So we kind of want them to be familiar with the area so they don't get into the wrong locations. And of course then with the blaze orange requirements, they are required to, during the firearms deer season, they have to have their full blaze orange requirement on that with a hat and 100 square inches of blaze orange front and back. During the off season, which would be actually from April through the regular deer seasons and upland seasons, they would be required to have their one article of blaze orange on, which could be anything from a hat while they're moving. They could have a blaze orange hat, vest on, and then once they're stationary, then they could take that off.
And you said they need to be familiar. Did I miss how they get familiar?
The main thing is just knowing your maps. If they have some guys like to have the paper map still get around. It's just a matter of getting out in the field, getting familiar with the trails and the roads up north, doing some scouting. The other good thing is with the iSportsman website that we have interactive map on there, and that's probably your best tool because you can actually get on your smartphone and while you're up there, turn on your GPS and it shows you right where you're at on the map up there. Any of the off-limits areas are usually well marked. If there's an area that's closed down for like a live fire exercise or something, they're going to have the roads barricaded off. So as long as we don't have anybody driving around barricades, we should be safe.
How do people find out about the different hunting seasons in the state, and which are there exceptions to those rules for Fort Riley?
The Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks website, you can get on there, and they talk about all the different game and seasons that you can take advantage of here in the state. Fort Riley's, most of our seasons are similar to the state. There are a couple of exceptions, and that would be our deer seasons, our firearms deer season. And that's primarily set up. We get approval through the state to set that up at a certain time because of the training that we have on Fort Riley. We have the training holidays set up around Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's when we know there's not going to be any training during that time frame, and that's when we set up our firearms deer season. So that way it gives the hunters an opportunity to get out there without having restrictions from training, and it just creates a safer environment. New hunter to Kansas, just make sure you're look over the regs. If you have any issues, make sure you call us. Just about everything you need to know is on our iSportsman website, but we do recommend if people have issues to call or stop by the office and talk to us. A lot of times face-to-face is a lot better. Our building's located at 407 Pershing Court, and our main office number is 239-6211. And you will get a recording there, but we are constantly checking those, and we'll call you back.
I have one more question. Is there camping allowed in the recreation areas?
No, there isn't. We do a lot of prescribed burning on Fort Riley, and also have a lot of wildfires, too, just from training. And that's one thing that's really can be important for the recreationists to be aware of their surroundings, and if there's smoke, upwind of you, you're taking precautions, because you never know if it's a wildfire. Sometimes those fires carry pretty quick, and you can get in a bind really quick with some of the fires. Normally, if there's a prescribed burn going on, we usually have a lot of resources up there, fire trucks and stuff on site, and if they see smoke out in a training area and there's no one around, we would definitely want them to report that.
Thank you for listening to Fort Riley, the podcast.